Right, good evening to you and welcome to Sunday Sport. I'm Nicole Kente. It's always a pleasure spending some time with you. Now, we also are here in studio with Liam Carme. He joins me now all the way from Cape Town. You're just a jet setter. You were here yesterday morning, then you went to Cape Town, then you came back. You're spending 2 minutes with Nicole.
I take exception to the term jet setter. That was probably like the first time I was in a jet in like a year, so thanks to the pandemic.
How was the rugby?
The rugby was actually good. It was very interesting. Lots of mistakes, lots of ill discipline, but it was certainly a match, the Cape Town one that is, packed with intensity, packed with incident, and a lot of talking points emerging from that match.
You were the only spectator there. Now, we do have lots happening this evening, so we're going to get straight into it. As Cricket South Africa was busy getting its house in order, the South Africa emerging men's team visited Namibia. It was a jam-packed tour that started with T20s and then ODIs. Malibongwe Maketa was the man tasked with coaching the team, and he joins us now virtually to chat a bit about that. Good evening to you, Malibongwe. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, unfortunately, your trip to Namibia did not go as planned. It was a difficult one, yes?
Good evening, Nicole and Liam and all the viewers. Yeah, the trip was tough in terms of results, but in terms of what we got out of it as a squad and what we wanted to see and actually gauge where the players were, it was quite fruitful in that sense.
Now, where do you think you guys are lacking, Malibongwe? Because on Wednesday, it was the 50-over match that you lost by 5 wickets. And then prior to that, you guys also lost that T20 series 2-1 against the same team. But you do have some quality individuals in your team, in the likes of Jonathan, Bird, Bryce as well there. So where do you think you guys are lacking?
Unfortunately, we were short in terms of our bowling attack in this time. Do with players having to perform different roles to what they were used to, and their attitude was actually quite refreshing in terms of how we went about our plans in terms of our bowling. With those players around, we reckon we'll be chasing less lower totals, and unfortunately that was the case, but that's not an excuse. Namibia played some good cricket.
Malibongwe, I mean, just for the sake of context for our viewers, I mean, we took an emerging side to Namibia. Obviously, the talented youngsters, but they are youngsters. I would imagine it was probably like a fully fledged Namibian side, and guys who are grizzled cricketers, guys who have developed as sort of proper cricketers by now. Did the youngsters learn the lessons that you hoped that they would learn, you know, against older, more established cricketers?
Yes, Liam, that's spot on. That was the whole purpose of the trip, you know, to get these young 22-year-olds to go compete against a team that is going to the World Cup. If you know that Namibia is qualified for the World Cup, and that is what motivated the whole trip, to go and expose some of our young players and get to understand the intensity of international cricket. And we got that, which was what we were looking for. And we could have sent a stronger team. But where we are and the future tours that are hopefully available to us, it was a great opportunity, and we actually grateful to Namibia for allowing giving us such an opportunity to go have a great series with them, with our young emerging side, you know.
Malibongwe, we've just seen the restructure of domestic cricket. It's something that was talked about for a very long time, and it's eventually now happened in the forms of divisions 1 and 2, which you are familiar with. Just tell me, firstly, how do you feel about the restructure? And secondly, also, how do you think it will affect the pipeline of players available to the SA emerging side?
Well, the whole structure has been mooted about for a few years now, and the whole focus is to give more players an opportunity to really compete for the Pro-Tier spot, where with 8 franchises, people really felt that it was few teams, a lot of players were not getting opportunities. So with the structure, we do foresee maybe in the first year or two, where players are starting to settle into their different franchises, it might just take a little bit of time for the players to settle down and we start getting what we're hoping to get from the structure. Hence, the South African High Performance Office is trying to make sure that we get a lot of these tours where emerging teams are playing against quality opposition, and SAA is also playing against quality opposition. so that we make sure the strength of our players are actually tested at the level where they're supposed to be to get ready for international cricket. And in answering your question, it's quite exciting for us, changing up the structure. And we're going to have more players exposed into playing some hard cricket, which is going to be good for us. And also exciting is to see some of the players that are coming back and players that are signing for different franchises. We're going to have a little bit more experience in the changing rooms, which is going to assist us in terms of the players' growth. Having their peers, guys like Hashim Amla, having Vernon Philander in those changing rooms is going to mean a world of good for the young players, which we have missed in the past 2 to 3 years, to be honest.
You said earlier that you could potentially have taken a stronger side in Namibia. So when this team plays again, can one expect different faces in that team? I suppose it's always an evolving thing when you take an emerging side somewhere.
Well, we're hoping to be more consistent in terms of our selection. Just because these players, lost the series against Namibia doesn't mean all of a sudden they're bad players now. We do believe they're good young players with a future within the game. And it's up to us to make sure that we, as coaches, to make sure that they understand what is required of them. And now they've got a good understanding of what intensity is played at a higher level. And from there, we need to just roll our sleeves and make sure that we help them improve. That's why we're here as coaches.
And from the current crop that you have, how far do you think they are from the real thing, from playing fully fledged international cricket?
Well, from this group here, we most likely have 2 or 3 of them joining the SAA team. So already we can see some players need to be operating at a higher level, which is the purpose of these tours. So when the SAA team is announced, 1 or 2 of them will be joining that group. And the rest of them are not far off as well. It's a matter of, like I said, it's a matter of putting in extra work in them and just helping them understand their games and their game plan. And in no time, I'm sure they'll be pushing for SAA spots.
Malibongwe, we're going to call it a night. Thank you so much for joining us. We know you've been really, really busy with the team. It was really, really great catching up with you. Now, still to come on Sunday Sport, the Athletic South Africa presidential elections take place next weekend. James Molloy has put his name in the hat for the top job. He chats to us next. Stay with us.